Hi, friends. Welcome back to the podcast, POD podcast by Gulshan. Thank you so much for following. I meet random people at events and at conferences, and they come up to me and they say, we're actually watching your podcast. So, thank you so much for doing that. And today we have my former student, Vincent. Yeah, who I learned a lot from. And the story how I first met him is going to really crack you up. And his mom, Renate, someone that I really look up to. Renata, you've done such a fantastic job bringing Vincent. And there's so much that I have learned when I was a teacher at Mawahib. I said, if Vincent can do it, everybody can. And so that is how I would force all the other students that if Vincent can be on time, if he's coming from Abu Dhabi, so can you. And if you're not, then you can go home. And he was always on time. And yeah, so I think we owe it all to you. So I'm going to start from the very beginning. Vincent's your only child.
Correct.
And when you first found out, when did you find out that he's going to be born with Down syndrome?
Actually, I found out, I think he was a few days old, had a very normal textbook pregnancy. And so, in hindsight, I think I might have overheard something from the doctors because we had we had a rapid
Heartbeat.
birth.
Okay.
Yeah. So went to the hospital, and I think an hour later he was there. And I looked at him after a few days in the hospital. At this time, you used to stay for about a week, and I looked at him and I thought he has Down syndrome.
Wow. So you knew.
I maybe in hindsight, I think maybe I've overheard something from the doctors, talking, because then after the day when we were supposed to be go home, they had to sit us down and said there is a suspicion that he has Down syndrome, and they weren't sure because there were those visible features.
Yeah.
So anyway, then we did the genetic testing, and basically after 6 weeks there was
But there was
confirmation.
the test one done before in your pregnancy?
No, because I was a young mother.
Hmm.
Yeah, everything was normal, and it isn't. It's nearly 30 years ago, so there wasn't really anything that would have indicated that this would be necessary.
Was there fear? Oh my God! Now what? And so did you interact with people with Down syndrome before?
Occasionally, but really there wasn't ever in my close network. And of course, I knew what Down syndrome is, and at the time it was 30 years ago, and even in Germany, there were special schools. There was still a lot of segregation. It was still more than 10 years to go until the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. So I went into this frenzy mode that you do. Internet was in its infant stage.
Yeah.
So of course you looked up all those ugly truths that you shouldn't look up.
So you started with early intervention and
I started
speech
with
therapy and
Yeah.
you did all the
Exactly. I had a fantastic genetic professor, and she told me, because she knew I didn't know and so on, and she told me I will go through different stages of grief. And she told me also each parent goes through this stage, because you never have the child that you expect, even if you're super happy, it's not the child. And so she prepared me a little bit. My parents were a great support. Really, they're very faithful, and they told me, God would have given you this child if you weren't strong enough to
Handle.
to handle it. And I didn't really believe in it, but it was really a strong message. So, and this is also where they're coming from, and it was a lot of acceptance and really open arms.
And your friend circle?
I was such a young mother. I was 26. And I was the first one in our friend circle.
Okay.
Yeah. And they just took it, very well educated people. That's just, never, and no one knew what the future would hold for him. So, but, they just loved him as they would have loved any other child.
I don't know. Vincent, do you agree that everybody loves you when they get to know you?
Yes,
Is that true?
it's true.
So I'm going to share the story when I first met you. Yeah, so we had an event happening in Dubai in one of the schools for my support group for SFS. And Sandy was there. Sandy is your best friend, also with Down syndrome. And he was there with his mom. And his mom was on the phone and she was like getting so agitated. And, I went up to her. I said, "What is it? Can I help you with something?" And then she said, "He's just come to UAE. He lives in Abu Dhabi. And I have to send him in a taxi." So I said, "Maybe he knows how to." So she said, "No, he doesn't even speak English. And how is he ever going to find?" And I can't go and drop him. So I said, "Okay, you know what?" I looked at my husband. I said, "Please, can we go and drop Vincent?" And he was sitting in the car with us. I said, "Vincent, where is the bus stand?" Because I had no idea, at Ibn Battuta. And then he said, "It's there." So he knew. And I was like so afraid. Like, how are we going to send Vincent by yourself, right? So in the bus, I made sure that you're sitting next to somebody. He said, "I'm a father. My son is the same age as Vincent. Don't worry about him. I will take care." I had his number down. I had another lady. She was Filipina. She said, "Don't worry. I will take care of him." And there was another lady. And she said, "I even have food for him. I'll give him food." I said, "That's so sweet." Everyone was there taking care of Vincent. And I had everybody calling me, "Okay, we've reached halfway." Now I said, "Don't worry, when you reach Abu Dhabi, his mom will be there at the bus stand." And then they call me and they said, "There is no mom." And I said, "Okay, I'll call her." Then I called you. He said, "It's fine, just let him take the taxi. He takes a taxi all the time." I said, "No, can you please go there?" And you knew everything. And I was underestimating you. I just thought, no, no, Vincent has Down syndrome. He can't do this on his own. But you proved us all wrong. Yeah? And what a lesson we all learned that day. Right? That we have to trust you. When you say, "I know how to do it," you know how to do it.
Yes.
Yeah? And then we started talking, and I told you all about Mawahib. And I said, it. And you said, "Okay, so he can come from Abu Dhabi." I said, "Huh?" I said, "You'll move to Dubai." He said, "He'll come. He can come from Abu Dhabi." So, do you remember the days when you used to come to from Abu Dhabi to Dubai? What time did you wake up in those days?
It was early morning,
Yes, it was very early morning, but what time?
something 4 years.
Yeah. And so what did you do? From your house, you took a taxi or a bus, or what did you do?
By taxi.
You took a taxi and then you went to the bus stand?
Yes.
And then what did you do?
I can't remember. It's a long
Okay,
time.
so from the bus stand, you got off at Ibn Battuta. Then from Ibn Battuta, what did you do? You took yeah, you used to take the metro, remember?
Yes, I take the metro. Yes.
And then from there, you used to walk
Yes, and
to
then
the
I
studio.
and then I walk.
Wasn't it Al Ghubaiba?
That was the bus stand.
Yeah.
So
You went from
sometimes,
Abu Dhabi to Al Ghubaiba, and then you took the metro. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he used to take the metro because, and then, he would open his tiffin and he said, I have cooked this, I made the salad, and I said, oh, so Vincent is doing it. And then he would demonstrate to us how he made the salad. We would get all the ingredients, he would make it for everybody. Remember?
Yes, I think so.
And I said, if Vincent can do it, everybody has to make their own breakfast. I mean, the lunch. And before they would open, I would say, what did you make? And have you made it? They say, yeah, I made. I say, okay, then don't open it. Tell me what is inside.
Smart.
And they had no clue. And so they would do the same with me. They say, and what did you bring today? And I would say, I have no idea because I didn't make it. So
Yeah.
they said, but if you're not doing it, you can't tell us to do it. So-
That's true. That's true.
but Vincent, you are amazing. You used to make all the most delicious salad.
Yes.
And you love Indian food, right? The spice. He used to eat chili. He used to just pick up. Then some days when he couldn't make his own lunch at the metro station, just outside, he would pick up
Yeah,
all
exactly.
the
Yeah.
Indian deep fried with chilies. And then he would say, Renita's chili. I said, are you sure you can eat it? Right?
Right.
You were just amazing, Vincent. And the best dancer ever. Is that what you love to do?
Yes, I do.
Cook, dance,
Cook, dancing, and meeting friends.
and meeting friends. And not meeting your old teacher. Are you going to start? You got me this
yes.
amazing gift. Let me show everybody. So it's so beautifully wrapped. And you got me a gift, which is what? What did you bring?
It's a German sourdough bread.
It's a German sourdough. It's different from other sourdoughs. Okay. And you made it yourself in the machine.
In the machine, yes.
Thank you. Yeah, it means a lot to me. My husband loves sourdough bread, and so do I. Yeah, thank you so much. So, when he was growing up, did he go to a mainstream school or did you put him in a
We used to live in Germany, Bavaria, near Munich, but still a rural community. So there was an early kindergarten, started at the age of 3. And it was a mainstream. There wasn't anything.
segregation?
Yeah, so it was, and that's also the beauty to live in such a rural area. And they said, okay, let's do a trial. And they told me to, stay put and close by because, he was just 2.5 years. And because normally at this age, they told me the kids are really scared of all the activities and the unfamiliar environment. And they also, maybe stay just for half an hour and then they're really overwhelmed and exhausted. So, and then, that's how they got started. So I stayed close by and was half an hour, and until I stayed 3 hours. And, he just loved it. And I think that's also, for me, it was really a sign that Vincent can adapt. He can really blend in and he loves to be with other people.
Other people.
Yeah. So there was no special school. He also went to a mainstream kindergarten, and they had a little bit of tough love for him. Because, in Germany, the winter is long, kids go out and they need to wear those really whatever heavy snowsuits, and it's a nightmare to put on. And they told me he takes a little bit longer, but we don't want to help him.
Oh, wow.
So, when he gets out, when he's ready, but then he might miss a bit, but this might motivate him. I thought, okay, that's a bit tough love, but, and that's, this was the kind of inclusion they applied, and
But brilliant.
yeah, and it really worked. And
Mm.
it's also, as many things in life, it was a question of training. Yeah, and then he loved to be in the snow, and then he was really fast, and yeah. So, and this was the kind of environment. And then he went, indeed, when he the actual school was a special education school, and yeah,
So
the first
Vincent,
few years, yeah,
first language was only German.
yeah,
No English was
no
being
English,
spoken.
no.
Because that's around when he came to the studio, he said he would speak in very broken English
Yeah,
in those days. He was trying really hard.
yeah.
And but we could understand what he wanted to say to us. And you know so Vincent, there was a time when you decided to travel to the UK, right? With your mom, you decide. I mean, you travel by yourself, but you decided
Yes.
with mom. What did you want to do in the UK?
To learn English.
To learn English. So
Yes.
how long did you go for?
2 weeks in London, I remember.
And did you come back being able to speak more fluently?
Yes.
And you went all by yourself?
All by myself, yes.
And who picked you up from the airport and took you to the place and all that?
Um, all by myself.
You traveled all by yourself, right? From Munich to London, and then at London Heathrow, which I think is a very stressing,
Busy and
yeah,
yeah.
airport. He needed to exit himself, and then you met someone from the language school, and they took you to the place where you stayed with your English teacher.
And
Yeah.
were you scared traveling by yourself and doing all these things alone? No mom, no SIM card to call home?
No.
No, never. And did you ever say, "My God, if I get lost, what's going to happen to me"? Did you ever think like that?
No.
No. And if you did get lost, what would happen?
I will ask someone.
Yeah, exactly. And how, because a lot of moms are watching, they're so afraid to let go. Not only moms, dads, parents are watching, and they really believe that they need to mollycoddle their kids and keep them all. How do you allow it?
I understand this need to provide an environment where they feel safe,
Mm.
and that an environment, where they are protected. So I had a kind of really moment of truth when Vincent was about, I think, 3 or 4 years old, and we went to a public swimming pool, so one of those huge water parks. And I saw a mom, maybe same age as I'm now, with her adult son who also has Down syndrome. So, and I saw them frolicking through the water, yeah. And I thought for myself, I don't want to be this mom. I want my son to have an independent life. So I don't know anything about the mom. Maybe it was the ritual once a year, so they go there. So I don't know anything yet. But this was a kind of really starter for me to think, if this is my goal, and I thought this is not age appropriate. So anyway, so this was, and then we started from there. And obviously I was afraid, and there were many fearful moments. But we started small. So when he was about 4 or 5 years old, there was a bakery around the corner, so that I could, it was, we used then at this time a little bit, we used to live in a bigger community, so I could really see, until the end of the road, and then he needed to take a turn, and there was the bakery, so it was a whatever 5 minutes walk for him. So, and this is how we started. So, but there was also this moment, and I do remember how my heart froze when he went out of sight,
Hmm.
you know. But so we trained it really slowly, and also his trip to the UK when he was about 18. He was used to travel alone. It was not his first trip, so
Yeah.
he was used to
But he
take
used to only go
intercity
to
trains.
Germany.
Yeah. And he was used to take intercity trains on a regular basis, traveling from Munich to Frankfurt and so on. So, he did this. He used public transport, but we trained it really little by little, and until we were sure he can do it. And there were frightening moments. Vincent, do you remember when you thought when you used to take the train to school? Because at some point I thought it would be a great idea to co-found with a few other parents an inclusive Montessori school. Anyway, so Vincent used to go to this school, and he needed to take the train, which took about 20 minutes. And one day you missed the train, or the train was late. Do you remember? And you thought you will be late for school. And what did you decide to do? Hmm?
I can't remember.
You can't remember? You decided, you wanted to be on time. And so he decided to walk along the railways.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So obviously it was
On the tracks.
or next to the tracks. I don't know. And obviously it was a busy weekday, so someone saw him. Maybe another train, so they called the police, and Vincent got picked up by the police. And the police took him to the school, and the school just informed me after whatever the school day. Yeah, that's. I mean,
But it
what I
can
tried to
happen
say. Yeah.
with any child.
Yes, and there's a risk. There's definitely
Exactly.
there's a risk. This wasn't part of my risk calculation that he could walk on the railways. And also on the other way, when you remember there was a metro strike, so the metro didn't run, the U-Bahn didn't run when you went to Mathilde Eller school.
Yeah,
And what did you do then?
I can't remember.
You can't remember? I think you were about 10 years old or so, and we used to live next to a police station.
And you went to the police station.
Yeah, you went to the police station and you were
Okay.
really angry because
Okay.
the train didn't run. So he asked them if he can take him to school,
Smart.
which they did.
Yeah.
And, they called me and said, normally, we do have other problems. We have the other, it's the other way around, that kids don't want to go to school, so we need to pick them up. And anyway, so Vincent, anyway, so there's always something that can happen, but
But that doesn't stop you.
no, and I think it's also about a calculated risk,
Yeah.
right? I mean, there, most of the people outside, they are not boogeymans, so there are people, nice people who like to help, and it's also, it's a relatively controlled environment, and an airport is one of the safest places because it's totally controlled, at least when you're inside the security. And Vincent, there are always nice people. I do remember, sorry, Vincent, when you went, I think you visited with Santi's family, you went to Exeter, and then you flew back via Paris.
Yeah.
And then we prepared an envelope with some euros so you could, get something to eat. And when you were at the checkout, you couldn't find the envelope.
Oh.
Yeah. And then because we found out, because the entire money was still there, and a lady was nice enough to pick up his check.
Nice.
So what I'm trying
You
to
just
say
meet,
is,
I mean, it's not like it's always been just smooth flowing with
No.
him. Yeah, there have been hiccups, but those are where he learns.
definitely there are hiccups, and there were, all the moments when he took the wrong train. And I do remember, so the early times of um, Google Maps. So we, he used to go to a youth club in Munich. And the first time when he went there on his own, so we looked it up. So this is the station. He needs to get out, and and then he used to call us and say, "Okay, I'm out now." That's what I see. There's a supermarket, there's a tree. So we looked it up on Google
Google
Maps,
Maps.
so we could guide him. So it was a kind of informal GPS. But what I'm trying to say is, yes, it's possible, and you need to plan for it, and you need to train. So
Yeah.
no one is able to take a flight right away. But
And you don't do the Maharaba service and
Hmm?
you know the special services.
no,
You don't pay for all that extra. He just
no, it's not about the payment. I think it's also about self-efficacy and self-esteem. You used to, Vincent used to take. We booked him a flight, a connecting flight, early years maybe.
so when was it that he took his first flight all by himself independently?
I think with 18. Yeah. But we didn't, he used to travel a lot independently by train. So it's Europe. So
No, but first time when he flew
18.
from Dubai.
18.
Yeah, okay.
And I think he was about 20. And then we booked him a connecting flight from Abu Dhabi to Doha and Doha to Munich. And we looked it up. So where are the ways, what he needs to do. And okay, worked brilliantly. A few weeks later, I took the same flight and I thought to myself, oh my God, that's a lot he went through,
Yeah.
because it's confusing. It's huge.
Yeah. So I had the opportunity to travel with you. Remember, we went. Where did we go? Do you remember the place? Where did we go? Six of the students from Hawaii when we went somewhere to a school. Where? Which country? We went to Singapore.
Singapore.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, and so we went to do an art workshop with 6 of my students. We went there. Vemi was there, our director, and initially the teacher said, "I just put paint in water bottles, made a hole, and I said, I told the kids, go have fun." We were invited to paint these benches. So I just let them, they were doing it with Vincent was dancing and moving. Everyone loved him and we just having fun. And then the teacher came to me and he said, "You finished what you were supposed to do you were supposed to do this for a week. And now you finished it in like half an hour. Now what are you going to do?" So he was really mad at me. And so then I told him, he said, "What kind of an art teacher are you?" So I said, "A good one." Because when I ask my students, "How many of you are artists?" they all put their hands up. When I asked your students who's an artist, they pointed at one person. So what does that say about you and me as an art teacher?
Fantastic.
At the end of the session, when they got to really meet and interact with adults with disabilities, everybody just changed. Vincent was so popular because I called the guy who was the athlete of the school, and then we did push-ups, remember? And I said, "Don't do less push-ups just because you think that he has Down syndrome. No, no, no. Let's see how many you can do, and I knew Vincent would, you know, wipe him, and he did. They went up to 90. And that guy just stopped. He said, "I can't do anymore." Vincent went to 125, right?
Yes.
You remember doing the push-ups? He was so good. Are you still doing that?
Yes. Because
So-
I'm going to the gym.
Perfect. And so the art teacher came with this pack of 6 beers. And he said, "Come on, let's just drink together. Today's your last night here." I said, "Okay, but I don't drink." I said, "But Vincent," because he used to keep telling me I drink beer. So I said, "He's German, he drinks beer." So I said, "Vincent, come, drink beer with him." So, he had one, then he had the second one, he had the third. And I think Vemi sent you a video
Yes,
that
yeah.
Vincent's drinking, and you said that's good, but he only drinks non-alcoholic. And we had given him.
No, he yeah, but it wasn't his first beer, definitely. So yeah.
But it was so much fun. And then I said, Vincent, are you okay? You're not used to beer. So he said, I'm fine. I can drink more. I said, no. But we've just had so much fun with,
Yeah, this trip was epic, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it was really. And he had all these young girls around him, and because he's an amazing dancer, he was so good in sports, and he was just, he could do his push-ups. He was teaching all of them everything that he had been doing.
Mm.
So it was really amazing, right?
Yes.
And you love doing your art. Have you continued doing that, or have you stopped?
Unfortunately, stop.
Not making time for it?
But I will try to start again.
And is the big painting of the shark still in your bedroom?
Yes.
Yeah?
I
You
st-
remember doing it?
I remember. Yes.
It's still there?
Still
Why
there.
did you want a shark in your bedroom?
Because it's nice next to my bed.
But do you think you're like a shark? You are.
Yes.
Or
When
what-
I had asked you before that what's the animal inside you, you had told me I'm a wolf. Remember? We did a whole art competition, and I asked every student, what's the animal inside you? And you remember? I remember you coming and you just said, I can't find the animal. I said, go to the washroom, look in the mirror, look into your eyes, and tell me what you see. And you stood there for a long time, right? And then you came and you said, Gulshan, I know what I am. I'm a wolf. And then you drew this beautiful painting with the wolves. And you said, I am the leader, right? It was
Yes.
amazing. You remember that?
I remember. Yes.
So, are you a wolf or a shark?
Maybe both.
Both. Okay. Some days shark, some days wolf. Do you have the wolf painting? Do you have that or no?
Only-
If I find a photo, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember it so clearly. So, Vincent, I know we discussed a little bit before, and you said I'm not very comfortable, but just like every other young man, you have also been in relationships, right?
Yes.
So, are you okay to talk a little bit about it or no?
Um.
It's up to you.
Uh,
No? Okay. So, would you like to have a relationship with another girl now? Are you ready?
I like my single.
You like
life
being
for now.
single? Why?
Because I had 2 girlfriends before.
And they drove you crazy?
And before I had a Leah for a long time. And then my second girlfriend was a Clary. And then on this day, Clary and I we decide halas.
Kalas. But you don't enjoy spending time with your girlfriend and
But-
having
But we had
being in love.
we
huh?
had a good life.
You had a good time, right?
Yes.
So, in the future, would you like to get married?
Mm, mm,
No. And to have kids? No. You just want to be single?
yes.
You like your single. You like being single.
Because I like to see my friends often, like Santi and
Yeah, but if Santi gets a girlfriend, he'll be busy with his girlfriend. Then what will you do?
but Santi told me he likes only friends.
Okay. That's nice that you have such a good friend. that you hang out with every weekend?
I have friends in Dubai and Abu Dhabi.
In Abu Dhabi as well?
Yes.
And what's your biggest achievement that you've achieved so far? Something really big happened in your life in 2019. What was it?
Golf.
Yeah. So, what about the golf?
I play golf for the Special Olympics long
And you represented which country?
time. UAE.
You represented UAE. Did
Yes.
you win any medal?
Yes, second place with my partner.
You stood second. So you got a silver medal at the Special Olympics.
Yes, in Abu Dhabi.
How proud were you at that moment? I missed it. I couldn't take time off, and I really feel so bad that I wasn't there. But how did that make you feel?
It feels just great.
And are you practicing for the next Olympics to win the gold now?
Something like that.
Do you want to win a gold or you're happy with your silver?
I'm happy with my silver.
Oh, that's amazing. And
Also,
Renate, how did you feel when he was given the silver medal?
This was absolutely unexpected. I knew he could play golf. He used to play with my dad, and in Germany, of course, Germany being Germany, you need a kind of license to be allowed to play on a golf course. So, and this is really a technical thing. So my dad and we coached Vincent through this having this license, so he could play golf, but he wasn't, he didn't have a lot of formal training. So I thought it's just a great opportunity that he, opportunity of a lifetime, that he can be there. And also I thought very proud moment also of his, being an expat in the UAE and representing your host country. So, and then someone told me his coach told me he might have a shot at a medal. And I thought, no way. As, it's good enough that we're here, but, and then, and this was really tough because I
Yeah.
played for 3 days. It was very windy, and this was under real competition conditions. So they had the same judges as any other major golf competition. So it isn't play golf or play sport. And I thought it was just incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
Me
these
too.
achievements, it's not only sport that you need to focus with all the people around you, the cameras, the audience,
Yeah.
getting your head around those really ugly weather conditions. He did it, and it was
Successful. Very.
no, it was very emotional as well. Yeah, because this was really like this medal represented so much of his achievements and his efforts. So, and he did it again, right, Vincent?
Mhm. Yeah.
And now would you represent Germany in another sport at Special Olympics, or now finish with Special Olympics? If you take up horse riding, I think you'll be good at that also.
Do you know, Vincent? I don't know if Gulshan knows about your second medal
No.
last in 2023 in Berlin.
Yes.
No.
You want to talk about it? Which sport?
Second place in cycling in Germany, Berlin.
In cycling? Wow. So how many kilometers was the ride?
5.
And how long did it take you? Do you remember the timing? 5 kilometers in how much time?
It was incredible fast. It was really fast. And
And was this with other people with disabilities or just mainstream?
it was Special Olympics again, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Special Olympic World Games in Berlin. So
Okay.
it was 2019, it was Abu Dhabi, and then 2023 it was in Berlin, and it was a very proud moment, right? To be
In your own
a
country.
German
Yes.
representing your host country
And winning.
yeah.
Wow. Amazing. So proud of you. I didn't know this. Yeah?
We sent Gulshan the video.
Yeah, please. I'd love to see it. You excelled in golf. You've excelled in cycling.
Yes.
What's your next thing that you're gonna? Which sport do you love the most? I know you do so many. Uh, when you used to come to Mawahib, you used to wake up around 4:30. Yeah, then take the bus and the metro and walk and then come to the studio. Used to finish at 2 o'clock again. Take the bus, that whatever. Reach after almost 2 hours, and then immediately used to go for your sports practice.
Yes.
And I would say, Vincent, can try and put some motivation into me to do this. Right? And you said, today I have to leave a little early because I have to go for my whatever, basketball. You played basketball
Ah,
also
yes,
at that
basketball
time.
as well, yes.
Sorry? You did play basketball, right?
Yes.
How?
I play basketball inside Sport City.
So, which is your favorite thing, your favorite sport?
Let's say basketball.
Basketball. Okay. So, are you joining the UAE basketball team for the next Olympics? You should.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I had a very good coach in inside Sport City.
And you've not started playing paddle? You should. I think that would also be good for you, right?
Yes.
Because touch wood, you really are amazing. Hmm? You and Sandy can go and play paddle and then motivate me, drag me.
Yes.
That would be great. A match with Gulshan. Yeah. You,
He'd beat me hollow.
yeah. But for example, his coach. You remember the name of your coach for your basketball coach?
Coach Devil.
I mean, there are moments in a life, humans in a life that are really turn out to be so, significant to your entire life trajectory. And this was Coach Daryl. I mean, he isn't in the UAE anymore. He's now running a charter school in the US. And I do remember, I mean, it was 2014. So we dragged Vincent, who had a full life back in Munich. He went independently to his youth club. He played football, had friends, took dance lessons, ballroom dance, and it was wonderful.
Oh, he did take ballroom dancing?
Yeah.
Because I don't dance. But when he would take me, he could just move me around. And I always said, how is he able to do it and no one else? So, okay.
Yeah. So we took him exactly from these ballroom dances were offered also as an inclusive activity, whatever in Munich. Anyway, so and then we really dragged him from this life to Abu Dhabi, and his English was very, very basic. No friends here, no nothing. And then with 18, spending every weekend with your parents, exploring the UAE. I mean, that's not really a picture
life, yeah.
of fun and adventure. Anyway, so and then I tried to find out some sports. So, and he was already 18, so, and there is this age limit for the most sport academies. So, and whenever I called them and say, yeah, so there's Vincent. Vincent's very sporty, very independent, and he has Down syndrome. And then they told me, there's something, maybe there and there. So we can't take him. The risk is too high. And okay. And then I called this basketball coach, and Vincent never ever played basketball, or maybe a few times in school, right? But so, and this was a regular mainstream basketball training, and this was the basketball coach that you imagine, nearly 2 meters tall, from the US South, um, you know, And he said with a deep voice, "Oh, no problem, bring him." And I thought, "Oh, okay, anyway, let's do this." And yeah, and he
Just
took him on,
accepted him.
and at the end, he could dribble with both hands. And but also, you wanted to quit after a couple of weeks, right? Yeah, you
Yeah.
wanted to quit
Oh, okay.
because it was hard,
Yeah.
and it did
Outdoor.
semi-professional basketball training with all those suicide drills and so. And he said, okay, and it's also something what we always, I think, what was always the game plan. We try something. If we decide to do it, if you decide to do it, then we go for it. So I said, okay, let's at least for half a year. That's what we signed up for. And yeah. So, but what I mean, there are always people out there, even if two people say no, there's,
Always.
and of course, now we have inclusive sports, Special Olympics are here. Many other sport academies are really opening their doors in Dubai. We have this fantastic,
Heroes of Hope.
yeah, exactly. Then perfect Ben's football academy. That was also a lifesaver. That's where he met his best friend. Right?
I think we are so blessed
Yeah.
to be in this country, which is so inclusive, And if it's not, if we as parents talk about it or complain about something, they are listening, and changes are being made, everywhere.
Yeah. You're right. You're
So
right.
I think we're really truly blessed to be in UAE. Yeah, it's an amazing country to be here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Victor and Sharan, they both got the golden visas for being
Yeah.
artists,
Yeah.
So, which other country in the world would,
Exactly.
recognize them?
Exactly. And I really like to think that Vincent had and has more opportunities here
Yeah.
than, for example, even back home in Germany.
So, Renate and Vincent, I'm going to ask you all a tough question. Yeah. Maybe it could be my last. What is your future plans for Vincent? Like, I'm just talking about like the hard question everybody
Yeah,
asks. What's going to happen when you are no more?
It is really something we just started to really work on in the last few months. Even just the basic questions. What would happen if my husband and I are traveling and something happens to us? Right now, whatever. So, and I made those tough calls and ask, for example, an amazing, fantastic woman in Abu Dhabi, also happens to have a daughter with Down syndrome. Would you step in at least until someone is here? And I was inspired by the mother of Vincent's best friend who started this journey as well. Yeah, and these are questions. And so we make those plans, but the plan is also, for me, it was always clear, right, Vincent?
Yeah.
We did, we went through it when your grandma passed away a couple of months ago. So you know how it is when someone leaves, and that he's ready. He's ready to live,
Independently. Or
halfway.
assisted living.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure in
yeah.
Germany,
But he knows, he can make his own decisions. He's adventurous enough to try new things. Yeah, and what we hope to instill in Vincent is really the love for life, empathy for others, and being curious and to try new things, so that this lifelong learning
but like
really continues.
financially and all, what kind of planning are you doing? Who will manage the?
So there is my sister
Okay.
who will be definitely there, so to be a kind of center focal person. Yeah.
So, Vincent, would you be okay to go back and live in Germany by yourself? Because I don't know if you can stay in Dubai. I mean, in UAE. But would you be okay to live independently?
Um,
In case Dirk and I pass away, so and then we aren't around anymore.
Where would you like to live?
in Germany.
In Germany. Okay. With friends?
Yes.
Yeah. So, like an assisted living place with friends. And you'd like to be working also there.
Yes.
That's. And you're not afraid. Are you afraid? Like, what's going to happen to me? Are you scared? You are. Okay. So, you still have a lot of time to work on it with mom. Yeah. Because I know for sure you'll be fine. 100%. Your mom has done a fantastic job bringing you up. Yeah. What do you want to tell her?
A big thank you
Look at her.
for everything.
Look at mom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not everybody with Down syndrome is like you, Vincent. She has really put in a lot of effort and brought you to this stage. Right? Every day, say, Mom, thank you so much. And what else? What else you want to tell her?
I love my mom.
Yeah.
It's but also I think I learned not I think I really learn a lot from Vincent, and I mean it every day. The way he
Goes about life. Yeah.
goes really about life, the way he's really inclusive. I do remember a situation where when they spent he and his friends in Abu Dhabi a lot of time to find out what's the best cinema to see a specific movie so that a friend who's using a wheelchair can be part of the group. And they used to go on a regular basis to the cinema. So they spent half an hour and another half an hour. So, and it was working, in the living room. So I witnessed how long it took. And at some point they said, okay, we take a break and then let's figure it out. And then we talk again in an hour. And then told Vincent, so why don't you just take turns? So if it does, that's me, working also in the field. And why don't you take turns? So, if this is not convenient for the majority of you, maybe, this time you do it in such a way and next time, everyone can join. And he said, but we want that all of our friends can join every time. I thought, yes, that's
so nice. Yeah.
yeah,
And that is inclusion.
yeah, exactly. And I
know?
thought, yes, and then I figured out a way, and I thought, yes, I mean, that's the way.
Really. Thank you, Renate, for being here. Thank you, Vincent, for being here. Yeah. And thank you for inspiring so many people. Yeah, because when they get to know you, they really see what's inside this Vincent, right? I think you're the nicest, kindest human being. You've never said anything mean to anybody. Yeah, you never judge anybody. You're just such a good human being. We all should strive to be just like you, right? So thank you for being in our lives. And we love you. Renate, thank you, for showing us all that it is possible. Just don't give up and keep, I think you just believe in him that he can do it and he does it.
Yeah, and then also it's what I really want to say. It's not something that it's in him, right? Just so like I do this, I do that. It takes training.
Yeah.
It takes really perseverance, patience, and
Persistent. You have to constantly do the same thing again and again.
yeah, and also to be curious and push again and again. So Vincent is, sometimes things are hard.
Yeah.
And we need to acknowledge, he just took up Taekwondo and it's hard. It's a regular mainstream Taekwondo training. So, but I think this is something where he really grows, everyone grows.
Mm.
And but also, talking about significant humans, you are one of those humans in his life, because there was a point when people thought he's nonverbal. Yeah, right? Yeah. And I do remember when I think it was um, maybe he stayed at Mawahib for a couple of months, and you had an exhibition, Vincent, and you
Mhm.
painted this huge building from your life, where our house was, like
Yeah.
the garage and Louisa's room and Julius and Jasper's room, and was a huge painting of our house. And
Mm.
then you ask him, and I was there, and then you ask each student, each artist to go up and talk a little bit. And then you invited Vincent. I thought, oh my God,
Mhm.
how can she put him on the spot? How would he be able to do this? And then I saw the magic that really happens at Mawahib, because he not only
I remember that room so well.
yeah, because he could express his feelings and what he painted there.
Yeah.
And I looked at you and Vemi, I thought, I mean, that's within a few months. And I think this is the power of what is possible if you open a life.
And when I made them stand next to each of their paintings, and you have to tell the audience what you've painted if you want. It was never forced. If you want the audience to just figure out on their own, that's fine. But if you want to explain what it is, and I used to tell all the artists, if you explain your work and you talk about how you've done it, what you've done, there is a big chance you might sell. So then they all wanted to.
Great incentive. Great incentive,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was fun. Yeah. Thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you, Gulshan.
And next Olympics, basketball. Okay.
Yes.
See you. Thank you.
Thank you, Gulshan.
Thank you.